Welcome to On the JOB with your host, LeAnn Parrish, editor of the Journal of Business. On the JOB is about the Inland Northwest business community, where you'll hear firsthand the backstories from the men and women reporters at the Journal of Business. On the JOB is brought to you in part by McNeese Wheeler Attorneys. Here's LeAnn.
Welcome to On the JOB. JOB stands for Journal of Business here in Spokane, and I'm LeAnn Parrish, editor of the Journal of Business. I'm here with Viginia Thomas, who is a reporter with us. How you doing, Virginia?
I'm doing okay, considering how smoky and hot it is.
Yeah, it's a little smoky, it's a little hot. We've got Vinny in the booth trying to make us sound good, or better, or something. So we had our new issue come out today, and Virginia wrote our lead story. It's called Flirting with Fiber is the headline, and we're talking about the city's effort to, or exploration into the possibility of providing municipal high-speed internet service. So I guess the first question I wanted to ask Virginia is, what problem is the city trying to solve or considering solving with this effort?
Well, Brian Beggs, the city council member who's kind of spearheading this working group that's taking a look at options, says that they are dissatisfied by internet speeds and prices and want to see underprivileged sort of areas be able to get more high-speed internet.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So what have they, what options are they focused on at this point? This is a group that's been meeting for a little while now, right?
Yeah, they've been meeting every other week for about 4 months now.
Okay.
And they've been doing research and had presentations from a bunch of different companies. And they've come down to kind of two options. One is based off of what they call the Ammon model, named after Ammon, Idaho. It's a small city. They built their own municipal fiber optic network.
Sure.
And then they lease out service through ISPs. So they built their own network, and then whatever internet service provider you want, you can pick it from on the fly, is how it was put to me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Great. So in that scenario, that's one of the options they're looking at. In that scenario, the city owns and operates the network, but they do not provide the service. They provide the network for the service, a variety of services. Is that right?
Yeah. It was put to me as kind of like different package delivery services. You've got UPS and FedEx, and instead of them making their own, highways to transport stuff, it's the city is providing that.
Sure.
Sort of like that.
What's the other option that they're looking at right now?
The other option is a company from Madison, Wisconsin called TDS Telecom, Inc.
Okay.
And they have proposed to come in and build a fiber optic network throughout the city all on their own, and probably provide the service as well.
Sure.
So the city wouldn't have to pay anything, but the company would recoup money from building it through, their aim is to get 50% market share.
Okay. Now, but I don't remember, in that scenario, there would only be one service provider that could use the network, which would be TDS,
yes.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So what kind of timeline are they on right now? The city of Spokane, or this working group rather, what kind of timeline are they on?
Well, they're hoping to get a report to the city in about 6 weeks.
Okay.
Not necessarily making a recommendation one way or another, but just kind of presenting what they've found and maybe making some recommendations for maybe further research that needs to be done. Sure.
Now, one of the interesting aspects of this is they're not the first to be looking at this municipal high-speed internet service. We talked about Ammon, which, for those of you who don't know, is southeastern Idaho, close to Pocatello, right?
somewhere in that
or
area.
Idaho Falls.
Idaho Falls, I think.
In that area. And so, but there have been others, right?
Yeah.
Closer to here, even.
Yeah, Sandpoint, which is, 70 miles northeast.
Sure.
They are actually in the process of building their own fiber network, which is going to be kind of a lot like the Ammon model. They're planning to also kind of lease out sort of chunks of the conduit for fiber optic networks to internet service providers, and so yeah, they're in the process right now.
Yeah, the interesting thing is the examples that we looked at were municipalities that are substantially smaller than Spokane. As a matter of fact, I think you had a quote in your story from Councilman Beggs saying that it's TDS, is that right? TDS Telecom has done a number of these, but never anywhere nearly as big as Spokane. Isn't that right?
Yeah, the size of Spokane makes it somewhat harder and somewhat more expensive to implement something like this.
Sure. Now, you talked to a few people in the industry or related industries. What did they have to say about the notion of the city starting its own or building its own fiber network?
Well, I talked to some people on the working group who think it's an interesting, maybe good idea. But I also talked to a representative of Comcast who said it's really unnecessary. They said that Comcast has, very high-speed internet already, and that Spokane is one of the best cities in Washington in terms of speed and price. And I also talked to Greg Green, who's the CEO of FatBeam, which is a fiber optic service provider. And he says it's maybe not such a great idea because it's going to be so costly, and he was really concerned about. He didn't want it to be a burden to the taxpayers, but the members of the working group say they do not want the taxpayers to have to be responsible. It's either going to be all through a private company, or the people who actually use the fiber optic network service would be paying for it. Sure.
Well, it's an interesting philosophical question about whether or not internet service should be viewed as a utility, like water, sewer, that sort of thing. Not something we're going to get into today, but an interesting notion nonetheless. Check out Virginia's piece. It's a great piece. It's a long piece. I don't think I had gray in my beard when I first started reading it, but it's
there's
a
lot
piece.
To it.
Yeah, there's a lot to it, and you did a great job of spelling it out. So check it out at SpokaneJournal.com, along with a lot of Virginia's other pieces. Thanks for watching. We'll be back with you.
Hi, this is Kurt Stockwell with Well Dressed Walrus. We are a local website design and development company here in Spokane. What we do is build beautiful, usable websites for local businesses. A website needs to be beautiful, it needs to be usable for your users, your customers, and yourself. Contact us anytime. We'd love to talk with you about your online marketing.
The following is sponsored by our friends and community supporters at McNeese Wheeler Attorneys. McNeese Wheeler is a boutique law firm in Spokane, handling matters in both Washington and Idaho. Areas of law include business law, wills, trusts and estates, family law, personal injury and wrongful death, and real estate matters. For your full-service legal needs, contact McNeese Wheeler Attorneys.
The economy is getting stronger, banks are lending again, and interest rates are at historic lows. Now is a great time to buy your dream home. The caring and knowledgeable professionals at Homes for You have been helping people just like you for over 20 years. They take the time to listen to what you want and will help you find just the right home in Washington or Idaho. Real estate is what we do at Homes for You, 928-5782, or visit online at homes4uspokane.com.
Welcome back. Welcome to On the JOB with me, LeAnn Parrish. I'm here with LeAnn Bjerken, one of the Journal of Business reporters. Welcome, LeAnn.
Good to be here.
Yeah, good. Like you had a choice, right? So LeAnn wrote a front page story for us about boat sales in the Inland Northwest. To be honest, we went into it cold, not really knowing what we'd find, and we found a lot of really interesting stuff. So LeAnn, why don't you just start by telling us a little bit about what the trend has been in sales activity in Spokane County over the last, so far this year?
Okay. From just the comments I was able to get from some of the local boat marine dealers and data from the Northwest Marine Trade Association, it sounds like in general sales all over the state are up for boats, and values are also increasing as well. But Spokane County has been particularly good this second quarter. We had a total of 1,324 boats sold, and that's a 36.5% increase compared with last year at this time for Spokane County. So
wow, that's great. That's
good,
great.
yeah.
And that outpaced the statewide
total boat sales,
activity.
So total sales for the state were up, but only by about 2%. So 15,000 boats sold overall during just the second quarter.
Oh, that's fascinating. And value or average boat sale, or let me rephrase, total volume of boat sales in terms of dollar amount was up even more than that, isn't that right?
Yeah,
Spokane
for
County?
Spokane County, it was up quite a bit. Our total for value of boat sales was $12.2 million for the second quarter, which is actually 107% increase over last year's second quarter total
Sure.
of $5.9 million. So.
Now, do you know, the second quarter numbers that we're looking at, is that there's some seasonality to the boat market? Is that one of the busier quarters for boat sales? Or?
From what I've heard, yeah.
Okay.
Boat sales kind of pick up starting in like April and kind of run through early August.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. So one of the things that you found was that there was a little bit of a delta or difference between trends in new boat sales and trends in used boat sales. Isn't that right?
Yeah, so it sounds like even though used boat sales are still doing all right, they're not quite as well off as the new boat sales, just because there's fewer used boats to sell, because they sell so quickly when you have a quality model that people are interested in buying. So there's a bit of a lack of inventory right now,
Sure.
from what it sounds like.
Sure. And so the anecdotal pieces that you got from boat dealers match up with the numbers that you got from the state association, isn't that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
When I spoke to the dealers, they had sounded like it's pretty common to see people interested in like your pontoon models
Sure.
that you can fit more people in to get them out on the lake and have more fun.
Yeah, right.
Some of the pontoons can also kind of be modified a little bit to tow things behind. There's other models, I believe they call them deck boats, that are kind of similar to a pontoon, but they have kind of a different shaped hull
Okay.
to make it easier to kind of tow things behind as well. So some
Interesting.
of those are increasing in popularity.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that pontoons were the most
Yeah.
popular boats right now. So, but you also said that there was increase in sales or popularity with the towboats or ski boats as well. Isn't that right?
Yep.
Yeah. Wow, that's
Water
great.
sports are big here.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Anything else that you wanted to talk about along those lines with the boat sales? Any other numbers that were interesting to you?
I don't think so. That pretty much covers it. I think just to talk about kind of what they're expecting next year. It sounded like sales this year are supposed to finish probably at overall 6 to 8% ahead of last year, and next year they're expecting it to keep growing too, with those same kind of models being popular again.
And at about that pace, would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Well, that's a sign of a mature economic cycle, I would say. Yeah.
All good news.
Yeah, good stuff. So Check out LeAnn's story on boat sales, and also your restaurants and retail page was great this time. A lot of interesting stuff. Do I even have to say www anymore? SpokaneJournal.com. You know how to get there. Check it out, and thanks for watching.
On the JOB is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content. On the JOB is brought to you by our friends at McNeese Wheeler Attorneys. Ask Lynn a question, recommend a guest, and hear this program again online anytime at SpokaneTalksOnline.com.